Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, after all, Mr. Geert Wilders will not become the premier of the Netherlands. Why? I think because bigger forces opposed him in such a way that he could not form a coalition government, and that is very strange, and I will explain why. I have here 3 articles where we have Geert Wilders coming out and saying that, well, these guys don't want to form a coalition government. I will not be the premier of the Netherlands. Some people celebrate, some people don't celebrate. What's behind all this? First, let's start with this. If you think that the politicians in general, including the Dutch one, have principles, you either have to read more or you have to live longer and pay attention. People who did not form a coalition with Geert Wilders and be in power finally did not do that because of their ethical convictions. They received some orders. That's my gut feeling. Why? Because you have loser parties with 7%, 8%, 5% that would never get in power unless they form a coalition. This is their chance. And they say, you know what? We don't want to be in power. When they actually work for that from the beginning of their political adventure. A politician wants power, wants to get in power, get the top, which is the government. President, prime minister in this case, and so on. So when you have parties refusing to be part of a coalition, to be in power, and do great things, that tells me that some bigger forces, I don't know, blackmail them, threaten them, something like this. So let me show you the first article. Sputnik, Dutch election winner Wilders says willing to forgo premiership. And I'm quoting Wilders. I can only become prime minister if all parties in the coalition support it. That was not the case. Wilders wrote on X. Now you can say, well, that's the way it is, man. That's politics. Really? The politicians generally will sell their families into slavery to get in power. You tell me that they didn't want to get to power? You tell me that those weasel parties that would have formed the coalition with the biggest party, the biggest, Wilders party won the biggest election by far as a percentage, but anybody else. The other ones would not get in power because that's what's going to happen. When Wilders will not become the prime minister, then the other side will form a government, a coalition government, and the guys that refused to join Wilders' party and come to power will be losers still, will be in the opposition, not getting the perks of the government, paying jobs and the power to appoint their wizards, finally reaching their goal. Are you crazy? So they say, no, we won't get to power. We're going to let you be over there. There are going to be some weasel parties that maybe tomorrow we can disappear. And they will disappear. I tell you why. Because people see this and say, well, that's exactly what you did. The biggest party will grow. These guys will be eliminated. They don't care? No, because probably they have promised some jobs in the other parties. You know what I mean. So let's read further. Earlier in the day, Dutch broadcaster NOS reported that Wilders and the leaders of 3 other major parties in the Dutch parliament, Dylan Jesligov Zagerius from the center, is this Dutch name? From the center-right People's Party for Freedom and Democracy, Peter Omtzigt from the New Social Contract, and Caroline van der Plas, that sounds about right, from the right-wing Farmer Citizen Movement had agreed to remain in parliament and were continuing negotiations to form an extra parliamentary government. Well, we'll see. The Netherlands had snapped parliamentary elections on November 22nd, 2023, and PVV won 37 seats, that's Wilders' party, in the 150-seat lower house of parliament, followed by the left-wing communist Pap alliance with 25 seats. Okay, 25 versus what? What was it? 37. And the ruling VVD with 24 seats. Wilders said he had no intention of establishing a coalition with the left wing, the communists, while his preferred partners would be the center-right, the NSE, and the right-wing BBC. Next, Associated Press celebrating. Geert Wilders said he doesn't have support of likely coalition partners to become Dutch premier. He was screwed by bigger forces. He was not supposed to win. That was the whole thing. This is democracy for you. And if the only thing that will make people say is this, Emil, this negotiation, this politics. Politicians do not have a backbone. Most of them, great number, majority. So if you tell me that those guys refuse to be in power because why? What is their chance, the other parties, two parties or whatever, to get in power ever? They will not be, going up. Right? They will not be accepted by the other ones in the coalition to form the government. There will be some losing parties there. It doesn't fly, for me at least. Geert Wilders, whose anti-Islam, anti-immigration rhetoric swept him to a stunning victory. That means there are people who support his fucking platform, you fuckers. And why is that? Is it because the pendulum went too much that way and you got the counter reaction? That's exactly why. Stunning victory in a November election said Wednesday that he doesn't have the support of his prospective coalition partners to become the next Dutch Prime Minister. That's what it is. Let's move to the last article from Bloomberg. Wilders attacks Dutch rivals who vetoed his bid to be premier. And here we have them. Freedom Party, that's Wilders, okay? Left communists right there. Beep, beep, beep. Farmers, socialists, no, out of thing. Christian Democrats. So much democracy among Christianity, man. And just look over it. Far-right leader. Railed against the political rivals who thwarted his attempts to become Prime Minister of the Netherlands after his shock victory in shock. Was not shock whatsoever. It's just that you guys make it sound that way, like these guys are extremists, by voting for Wilders. So what's next? Either the idiots will change course somehow, will, I would say, resist pressure from the big interest outside of Netherlands, and they will agree to take a chance, because that would be their only chance. I think their program, their platform will not get more than they got, 7% and whatever percentage they got over there. And get a chance and take a chance with this, because when you get in power, you have the chance to do good things and make mistakes. But you don't go with, I'm going to make mistakes. You go over there to do good things. And when you're going to provide and give good things to your people, to your country, that's the way. It's like the chance to be on air, not flying, at the television. When you are over there, you have the chance to shine, the public to see you. Therefore, you're going to have some haters, you're going to have some lovers. So that's your chance. This guy's chance was to take control and do good thing for the Dutch people. Therefore, gain more support. Right now, they're going to go into oblivions. Pop, pop, pop. Why? Nobody will hear about them. On the contrary, they will say, oh, this is what you did to this guy. And the other guy will be viewed as a victim. Wilders, Geert, will be seen as a victim. Look, those guys, man. And on the other hand, Wilders said that, right here, let me show you. He says here, we have become the largest party. I think I should have become Prime Minister. Yes, in a democratic world that these guys are telling us we live in. Wilders told local media, it is, I'm quoting, unfair, undemocratic, and constitutionally incorrect, he says. Well, that would be in the absolute ideal world that these guys are telling us we live in. All right, so the wake-up call for others. The same thing happened, if you remember, in another same thing. Actually, in Poland, it was a little bit different. The coalition, so the biggest party was still the one that was in power, right? Justice something. They were still in power. They were still the majority. The rest of the parties, the communists, the weasels, Donald Tusk and garbage, were on the lower. But his minority government, the parties that they formed the government they lost percentages. Therefore, they could not be 51%. That's why we have the idiot Tusk, which his party did not win the elections. Was not the majority party. But hey, with his coalition, now he's king you, my Polish friends. He is king you, guarantee you that. I mean, that's a weasel semi-communist tyrant. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Sorry for Wilders, things are not done yet over there, but they are fighting. And I said about it. I said about this before when he got elected. The party won the majority, the biggest, 37 seats. I said, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. And he is rock and rolling right now. Why? These guys will not this guy allowed to be over there. Why? They're afraid his popularity will explode because he might do some things that some people will appreciate, might do some things that other people will not appreciate. But hey, give the guy a chance. No? No, I guess not. Some people should not be allowed to be on air. Why? Because people might say, wait a minute, this guy is really doing some good stuff. He says crazy stuff, but look, he's doing great stuff. I don't care what he says, I care what he does. Unless you're a pussy, and then you care very much of being kind and being nice, but not truthful. Truth doesn't really matter. Matter if you're treated nicely. Let me a little bit nicely. Okay, okay, but you're still fucked. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.